What's up everybody, Patrick from wpbuilderhelper, and in today's video we're going to be talking Brizy Cloud. Specifically, we're going to be going over some of the changes that they've recently made to it. They've added a lot of stuff to it. It's been like a year since I've covered anything, or at least it feels like it's been a year. And they made a lot of pretty decent changes. They've been making some decent headway. So today we're going to be going over that, and we're going to be discussing what they've made changes to and what's coming next. So let's get started. Alright, so here we are inside of Brizy Cloud, and for those of you who don't know, Brizy Cloud is, there's two parts of Brizy. There's the WordPress version and there's the cloud version. The cloud version has had a lot of stuff come out with it recently that's made it way more powerful than it was before, and not a lot of people are talking about it. There's a lot of different reasons why, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But I wanted to mainly talk about why this is so interesting, because technically Brizy was kind of the first company that I know of, at least, to really push the cloud solution for page builders. I'm sure there's other companies that may have started it out there, but Brizy to me was one of the first to push this. So you've got, visual forms, you've got sliders from any block, saved global blocks and all that. You've got headers, footers, animations, padding, margin, zoom, all this other stuff, even video backgrounds. So you've got all of this, and it's just basically made so that you can take and you can do a lot of different things with it. And that's the general purpose of it. That's what it's here for. It's here so that you can kind of take and you can build whatever you want to build. So you can build pop-ups, you can build websites, you can build whatever. Now, one of the things I'll tell you that's interesting about Brizy Cloud that I'm not sure why they chose to do it, but they did it anyway, was we're gonna build an IT website. That's what we're building today. But one of the things that's interesting is these old websites, these were project websites that I had built before. They don't work with the new version of Brizy Cloud. Only the newer websites that you build today actually work with Brizy Cloud. And I'm about to tell you why. It's a minor inconvenience, but basically there's parts of Brizy Cloud that you can't see with this new version. It's a little bit, I guess you could say it's annoying, if anything. But there's a couple of things that you can't do in this new version of Brizy Cloud that it's just weird. You can't do it in the others. So like blogs, you don't have that. You don't have categories. You don't have this new asset homepage. You have like all the old stuff. They've talked about migrating everyone over, and for some reason they just haven't done that yet. And I'm not exactly sure why they haven't done that yet. I would have thought that would have been something they would have started doing right from the beginning, but for some reason they just didn't do it. So, here we are inside of Brizy Cloud now, and we're dealing with this, and it is what it is. It's not a huge inconvenience, but it's a little bit annoying that they didn't think about the old users who have been here a while. I know they're going to eventually migrate them over, but let's get to the meat and the potatoes of what this is about. So we have this homepage here, and we're going to go to edit, and we're going to edit it. And just for grins, we're going to go to layouts, and we're going to pick one of the layouts they have. So for me, I'm going to pick, they've got a lot of really great layouts in here that I really enjoy. But for me, I want to build an IT website. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's IT related. They've got this startup app here, but I think there's something better down at the bottom. Maybe there's coin. There's a lot of different things that they've added here, which I really, really like. They've got this form style. Here we go. We've got this fix it. So let's choose this fix it, and then you can import like everything into it. So we'll replace global styling, and we'll just import the whole entire thing, because you can just have a computer website just up and running. So we'll import this, and I don't think that it imports everything, so that's rather weird. And this is also rather weird. There seems to be an issue with the text here. I'm not exactly sure why that happened, because I told it to take it. Wow, it's done it to each and everything. So this is just basically showing you some of the drawbacks of this. It's not a huge thing, but you're going to have to go in and customize this. You can't just start this from scratch. Not sure if that's a bug. It's probably a bug. Brizy is, you know, they tend to have quite a few bugs in some of their stuff when they come out with new stuff. Not sure what caused that. Maybe they didn't look at this specific template, but it could be anything. It's most likely the letters. Yeah, letter spacing. I think that this would need to be bumped up to where this is. Yeah, this should be like that. So apparently the letter spacing for some reason on this template is set to that. Not sure why it's set to -3, but obviously maybe it's because it's using a different font, or maybe it imported a different font, maybe because it used this. I'm not sure. The cool thing is you can go in here and you can change all of this to make it match whatever style you want to. One of the things that I've been really frustrated with is that they have this fix-it stuff that you could do, like these different files, but you can't make your own. Like, I'm not sure why they don't have it where you can't make your own, but you can't make your own. It's a little bit annoying that you can't make your own. You would think that in this day and age that you could make your own, but for some reason you just can't. They just haven't figured out a way to do it. And that's something that's always hampered Brizy for me. I like Brizy. I enjoy using the builder. I think the builder itself, what they brought into here is really, really great. But there's times where I think the builder itself runs into some problems. Anyway, let's get back. So let's publish this page. We're going to publish this. And then we're going to go in and I'm going to show you one of the new features, which is building a blog. So the blog is really cool. This is what really, really matters the most. So for instance, the blog, you can see here we have a blog page, and you can add new categories and all of that. But let's go take a look at the blog page. So for the blog page specifically, we're going to want to and I should have gone back. Let's go back to the home page real quick. We're going to want to set what our header and footer is so that it's unique across the whole entire project. So in this case, we want this to be our header, which it's set to header, but we're going to say save it. And then I think after you save it, there's a way, make it global, and now it'll make it global. And then you can go in here and you can select display conditions, and we can choose all, and now it'll display across all of the website. So that's what we want as our header. And that way, if we make any changes to anything, we don't have to go back here and completely change everything. So we're going to do the same thing with this, make it global. We're going to go in here and we're going to go display conditions, and we're going to choose all, and we're going to save it. And so once again, it's saved. So that's awesome. So now we've got this saved. We're going to update this page. We're going to go back into the blogging section. And now when we go into the blogging section, you'll see it says no post yet. So we're going to go to, let's see, categories. We're going to go into the blog. Let's edit the blog. And you can see it's just the header and footer. So there's nothing in between here. So now we can add in blog stuff that we want to have. So you can build this in a couple of different ways. You could build this like the standard way that you would build it, or you could go in and you could look at the layouts, and you can find a layout that you like that's blog friendly. So for instance, if we wanted to choose a category that was a blog, we would pick something like that. So for me, I'm going to stick with the same theme. Let's see if we can find one if this even has a blogging section. This says services. This is about, this is prices, and this is contact. So unfortunately, it doesn't have a blogging section, but that's all right, because the power of Brizy, which we really like, is that you can go in and you can find another section that maybe does have a blog, and then you could just steal that section. And there's probably, if we just type in blog, you'll probably see that there is a way to have blog. Let's see if this is just showing me. Let me see if this has got a blog section. News, our team, services, location, about, contact. So that doesn't have a blog section. So we're kind of looking for like a blog section. I think this has one because I've used this one before. Nope. So let's see. I know that there's a blog section in one of these. Nope. No blogging section. So strange. I wonder if it's just because, and I guess this goes to show you, I wonder if this is just because they didn't think about adding a blogging section to these and they're going to go back and add them in later, or if they just didn't do it at all because they just weren't. I don't know. That's weird. It doesn't look like there's any blogging sections if I had to guess. That's a little bit disappointing. I would have liked, let's go into the blocks. Let's see if there's blogging sections in the blocks. Nope. There's headers, there's footers, there's pricing, there's teams, there's text, but no blogging section. I'm blown away. I'm surprised. I don't know why there wouldn't be any blogs. This is weird. I'm really shocked. So you'd have to create it from scratch. Okay, not a big deal. We can still do it. It's not that big of a deal. So the purpose is we're going to go in here and you're going to see we have archive, title, excerpt. You can add in all the same stuff that you would normally have with Brizy, so nothing changes with it. So for instance, if we wanted to add in a row, we can add in a row down here. But what we're going to do is we're going to add, let's see, let's remove this row and let's add in, let's make this full width. There should be a way in here. Width, we're going to turn it box full, perfect. And let's go in here and let's drag in a title. So for this, we're going to do a title. And we can move this afterwards. You can see that it's got the blog title. That's fine. We'll center it just to take and make it look a little bit nicer. And let's go in and adjust the area that this is at. So we want to drag this right here. Yep, that way that's right there. So now you can see we have this blog title. So before you used to have to, they've still got some dynamic stuff that you can do with Brizy. They've kind of updated that just recently where you can still do, I think the pound or the hashtag, I believe that's what it was. And it goes to your dynamic. But for some reason, when I'm checking this out, it just says post title and it's got blog. Oh, well, maybe that's because we're on the blog page. Stupid me. That's probably exactly why that's happening. You can also see there's a lot of space up here at the very top of this. We don't necessarily want that space, but we're going to worry about that later. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to adjust this to, I was going to say we were going to adjust it to full height, but I'd rather do like a custom height and then do, I wish you didn't have to pick pixels, but it's all right. We can pick pixels. It's not going to hurt anything. And then we're going to go back on here and we're going to choose background image. And let's see, we want to set this background image as being something that is dynamic. So before we go and find pictures, I was going to say let's go find pictures, but before we do that, because we're having to build this from scratch. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go grab some images off of some stock websites, and then I'll come back and I'll see what we can find. All right? All right, so I've downloaded some pictures and I am ready to move forward with the blogging aspect. So an important note, you cannot yet make background images dynamic, which is something that I would have liked. You just can't do it yet. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's not incredibly, it's not the worst thing that could happen with it, but I would like to see some dynamic images at some point so that you could make like this blog post, for instance. If I wanted to make this more dynamic and have it stand out, that would be really cool if I could do that. Currently, I can't do that, so that's kind of disappointing. But it's not the end of the world. It doesn't kill me. So all I did just there was just kind of make this basically stand out a little bit more. Probably also want to take and go in and change this all together. So let's go in and change this and make it. So right now it's just right now it's set to a standard heading. One of the things I do miss that I wish that Brizy has, but it doesn't have yet, or at least the Brizy Cloud version doesn't have it, it's the ability to make something all uppercase or capital. We haven't seen that yet, but I know at some point that is coming. They just haven't done it. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to add in their blogging section, which they did recently update, because this is going to be simple. All this is a blogging page. So we're not going to go through any details because I'm not going to spend hours and hours talking about the blogging portion. But I wanted to show you what they're working on. There's also like a WooCommerce type thing that they're working on, which is really cool, which I think is going to be awesome once it comes out. It's going to give people some options. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to pick this, but, you know, it's just kind of cool that they finally have included blogging into it, because I feel like a lot of people will start using this for blogging. The price is pretty attractive. It's got a decent deal with it. And I think it's like, I don't know, for us, it may be a little bit cheaper than what normal people are, but I think everybody gets about the same deal, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll do 3 columns. So we want about 3 columns. Let's actually make that 2. Let's make this 4 columns. I want to see what 4 looks like. And one of the things I don't like about this, I'd like to make this a little bit wider margin. So should we do full? See, I think full looks a little bit too much, but let's see what happens if we add in 150 pixels on, well, we don't want 150 pixels on top, but we do want 150 pixels here, and we want 150 pixels here. So it kind of reduces it, because I don't want it to be like the full width of the page. Some people would say that that's stupid, but there's not going to be anything on this page. It's just a blog page. So that's really all it's there for, is to tell you, hey, you're on the blog page, and you know, that's all you're here for. You're here to see the blog posts themselves. And we could go in and we could customize this if we wanted to. So this is the excerpt. This is the image. Now this is dynamic. So just so you know, this does pull dynamically. I just wish you could do it where a background could pull dynamically, so that as you're creating these posts, you could go in there and do that. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. I don't even know if that's necessarily true, but we're going to go in there and test it. So this is all a testing game. So right now we go to blog, and you can see we've got the blog. And then we go to all posts, and we don't have a post. So let's create a post. And we'll call this IT computer repair post. And we're going to do a featured image. So we want this featured image. And we're not going to use an excerpt, and we're going to save it. And now we've got that. And so when we go into all posts now, you can see we have this post. So then we can go in here and we can edit this. So you'd edit this the same exact way, to my knowledge. You would customize it. You know, I don't know. Something that I don't, let's see. I want to try something, because we do have this image. Let's see, can this image be dynamic? Maybe it's just, I can. Okay, so you can have a featured image. So you can do it on post. Interesting. You can do it on post, but you can't do it. You can't do it on the other thing. Okay, that's different. I wasn't ready for that, but that's okay. That's not a big problem. So we're going to take and we're going to switch the order of these. And we can see that there's some padding here. I think that's at the top of this. So we'll go in here and change this. Let's change it to 0. I want it to bump all the way up. And it looks like there's still something that is, there's still some padding here or something that's in between this. I'm not going to worry about it right now. That's a huge image though. We definitely want to adjust the height of this to say custom, and we don't need it to be full height. No, we want to do custom, although it looks like it's not going to do it just yet. Save draft. And then, so that's not exactly set yet. So this is like, it's editing this, but it's not exactly set. So then we would want to do, from here, we would want to do, we want to do title. So let's add a title to here. So let's do we want to do it above? I don't think we do. Let me see. No, I don't think we do. I think we want to move this below. That would be the key, is to move this below. I don't want to move this. I definitely want to move it below this. So let's move it below this so that it's right here. And then from here, oh, I keep doing that. We'll add in some more text. So let's see what other text can we add in. Do they have like meta in here? So can we go here? Ah, interesting. So they've got strike through and capital. Well, that's weird. When I did the other thing, it didn't have that. This doesn't have strike through and capital. How come headers don't have it, but regular text has it? That's interesting. Interesting design choice. I would think that headers would have that so that you could set something as all caps if you wanted to, or not as all caps or whatever. So here, I don't see that we can add this as like a meta. Oh, you can. You could do blog title, excerpt, categories. So we can set like an excerpt, a category. There's no meta information though. So you can't do like author, or at least that must not exist yet. You can only do these three, which I guess is a small, there's nothing that actually says author. It's a little bit disappointing. So let's go to the text. Once again, I keep hitting that. Let's go to the text of the actual box. Let's add it to the bottom of this. So I guess the one thing that I don't know about this is, would you just start adding your text essentially like, I don't know. I got to think this out. This is interesting. So that looks terrible, but I mean, it should look terrible. It's the way it's set. I want it more like that is how I really want it. Although full would probably look better if we were going to go with that route. I do like that I can go in here and adjust this to get it to where I want it, without having to break anything. There's some issues here. As you can see, there's like a little bug here where you can't grab the post exactly how you want it. But those are all minor bugs. Brizy, I know, works on this stuff all the time, and they're doing fixes. It's just not there yet. But we don't want to make this. So the weird thing is, we're going to have to make this a new section rather than a post. So let's do that, because we want to create a new section, and then we want to move that section up. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving this specifically in here. We're going to be moving this specifically in here. So the point would be we move these in here. That way they're not just sitting they're not sitting right on top of everything, and we can kind of decrease this and decrease this. That way you can definitely tell that this is, this is the post. So let's save this. Let's save this draft. Let's actually publish it. And then let's look at it on the front end and see what it looks like. So, okay, so it got our picture. It'd be cool if it could grab that picture from the front, but that's all right. So now if we go back to our project and let's do our, so we've got our page. We've got 2 pages now. As a matter of fact, let's go add in the other pages too. Let's just set these. We're going to set about, and we're going to have, okay, we'll set it to published because we don't care. And we're going to add in a services page, and we're going to import both of these, so don't worry too much. And we're going to save them. I'm going to go back to our pages, go to our About, go to Edit, and we want to import this page. Similar to what we did before, just go to Layouts, find our specific layout, which was the computer repair the fix-it layout. So you can see they have a services about contact and prices. Let's import this layout. I wish that, like I said, I wish there was a button where you could just import the whole entire thing. This is rather annoying though, that I have to keep dragging that. I don't know why that does that, but that is, oh, did I just grab something I wasn't supposed to? Yep, I did. That's the header. Why is the header? What? Did it copy the header? Oh, it must have copied the header and the footer of the page. Oh. Well, that's strange. So it duplicated the header and footer. I guess it imports the entire page because it doesn't know the difference. Okay, so it doesn't know that you already have a header and footer, so it just kind of copies what you already have. Okay, that's fine. That's, once again, not a big deal. And we're going to go into the services page. Let's choose that. Now that we know that, we can go in and we can, when we go to import these, we'll go in and we'll remove the two that shouldn't be in there. Choose this, choose services, import this layout, and then we'll remove the two pieces that we don't need. So in this case, this header, and in this case, this footer, then we'll move this down. I do like the way that this is organized. I like how that works. It's very smooth. That's one of the things that I've always given Brizy the benefit of the doubt with, is that when it comes to the way that this runs, the way that everything feels, it always feels good to work in here. It never feels like it's sluggish. It never feels like, it just feels good. And that's something that, you know, a lot of builders, they struggle with, because it's great to say, okay, we're going to create a new menu here. So we'll create this menu. Let's call it main. But a lot of people, they struggle with this because they're trying to understand just how they want everything set up, and drag the menus to rearrange them. This is weird. Why didn't it? Oh, you have to. Oh, that's what you have to do. You have to create it first, then you can add it to the menu. So let's uncheck this. I don't want to duplicate that. Let's save that. Okay, and then now when we go into one of our pages, so let's choose our page, let's choose home. There's something rather refreshing about this whole setup. I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that struggle with WordPress, and they're not big fans of WordPress. And so Brizy's given them an option, which I think is something it's interesting. I mean, essentially they're stepping out of themselves and saying, hey, look, guys, we have this option, and, you know, you can use it or you don't have to use it. So let's close this post out, and let's look at this and see what we've done. So once again, this is just building a blog, essentially, using Brizy. So we're going to go in here. We're going to see we have the About page, and we have the services, and we have the blog page. And when we go to the blog page, it should have at least one blog post. So the image isn't loading in the blog. Oh, you know what? I screwed this up. This is my fault. So unfortunately, when I went in and selected the blog, let's go back and fix that. I didn't do something right. I didn't go into the blog and actually tell it to select the categories that I want to pull from. So in Brizy, when you go and you make these type of things, you have to actually tell it, like, you give it a filter, like how you want to randomly pull, like what you want to pull from. I didn't tell it that, and I'm pretty sure that's the reason that it's not pulling. Is it because it's not part of the blogging? I bet you that's what it is. I bet you that's what I did wrong. So I was struggling with this, but you got to understand how this works, because normally WordPress would just pull everything from the archive. I technically didn't set that post to be in blogging or anything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that category, and I think we have to set this for like a blogging category. So see how it says blog? You got to set it for that. And now that it's got that, now if we go back and we look at this, we should see that that category is set, because you're setting it for categories specifically. So the blog works a little bit differently than it would some of the other stuff. So I'm still not seeing it. Kind of confused as to why the blogging isn't there. Okay, so I finally got this working. Apparently it was maybe just cached. It was probably cached and it wasn't showing it. That's probably what happened with it and why this looked the way this did. But you know, the homepage works exactly how it should, and then the blog post now works. Like I said, it was probably just a caching issue that was probably causing most of the problems with the blogging page. And now you can see it goes straight to our dummy blogging page. So, you know, where do I think that this is going? Where do I think that cloud is going and everything like this? For one, I think Brizy has one of the most unique offerings with their cloud functionality, just because they're allowing so many things. They still have a good bit of work to do to make it functional for most people. I think that in order for them to make it better, you know, the WooCommerce definitely, or not the WooCommerce, let's just call it the shopping cart feature, has to come out at some point. They have to have it. They have to bring it out. Another thing that they're going to have to do, which is going to be super important, is to take and just squash all of these bugs and some of the things like that. You know, that's a big deal for a lot of people. You know, being bug free is never going to be 100%. But at the same time, they need to be as close as they can. So let's go to our dashboard and let's do something. I'm just curious. Let's copy this link. And this is straight from Brizy. I want to run this through GT Metrics, and I also want to run it through Google PageSpeed Insights. So I want to check this, because this is another area where you just can't be slow. And I know that there are some people who have been saying, oh, Brizy's slow, and yada yada. And even I have noticed when I've done my analyzing that it's not the fastest. But the cloud is built on an architecture that's different from WordPress, where it doesn't have a lot of the same things. Now we'll see that on here, Brizy actually scores pretty well on mobile, and they score really well on desktop, which is very good. These are some scores that are on average with Gutenberg if you're looking at them. The mobile, maybe not so much. They could tighten up on the mobile, and that's one area that most page builders do. But then on here, you see they score excellent. And this is from one of their pages that are built by it. So I tend to like to use this as this is a general idea of how well it works, because they kind of customized this already. So if we're going through this, you can see this is scoring excellent. If you were building this for a client, this would not be a bad decision to take and go and use this. It's going to take you some time. Yes, there's going to be some bugs. But even now with the blogging functionality and the fact that you can make blog posts and you could have blog posts and customize this, we're starting to see this evolve a lot more than it did before in the past. And that's the key. For me, that's the biggest key about all of this. This is interesting because you're finally starting to see an area where you can have an entire website built without WordPress. You've always been able to do that with Wix and other people, but now you've got this Brizy builder that's independent of WordPress, which gives you some awesome functionality that just is built into this. And the pricing for it really isn't that bad either. This is the pricing for Brizy Pro. And I think that if you go to Brizy Studio. I think Brizy Studio, there's some pricing that's down here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, so here's the pricing. So $99 a year. Now, I don't know if this is going to go up, but $12 a month for unlimited hosted domains and blogging functionality. I gotta say, this is it's getting pretty tempting. That's not bad, especially for client work. This is really good for personal use, 3 domains, and then you can get one for free that doesn't have some of the pro features, but still, it's not bad. This is gonna be a lot more competitive further in the future. So anyway, this was just my take on Brizy. When they come out with the shopping cart piece of this, I can't wait to see it, and I'm going to love to see what they're going to do with it. I will see you guys next time.